The information you provide is very important should you have a case. You may be asked to verify your responses by affidavit, so your complete honesty is crucial. If you agree to provide accurate information to the best of your knowledge under penalty of perjury, please press 1.
News, Tony Busby. Okay, here it is. Sorry.
We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15.
What?
25 of the 120 individuals who are plaintiffs in these cases were minors at the time of the acts complained of. The time frame of the acts complained of is very wide. The conduct at issue spans from the years 1991 all the way till this year, 2024. So many alleged victims, that's your...
Wow. This nigga said a 14-year-old, bruh. God.
This has been going on for a very long time. Now, when you think about the fact that some of this conduct occurred 25 years ago, and you wonder why would it take somebody so long to...
But it's it. These assault charges, not civil assault, right? These assault allegations against him. Damn.
New York as an example. The state of New York has specific statutes in place that revive claims that are even claims that would typically be not able to be brought, that it revives such claims and they can be brought even 25 to 30 years later. Because there's a recognition there in New York and California and other states that it's very difficult for a victim to come forward. And I would respectfully suggest the only reason many of these people are coming forward because they see other victims coming forward. And it gives them some comfort that, hey, I won't be the only one. And I expect more victims will come forward.
Are those victims to his left?
A lie has great speed, but truth has endurance.
Damn.
The acts complained of in these cases that we're going to file occurred primarily in New York, either Manhattan or the Hamptons, or occurred in California, primarily in Los Angeles, or in Florida, primarily in Miami.
Star Island.
Most of these events and incidents occurred at parties, typically after parties, or album release parties, New Year's Eve parties, 4th of July parties, something they called a puppy party, the all-white party, although several of these events occurred at auditions. Many times, especially young people wanting to break into the industry, were coerced into this type of conduct in the promise of being made a star, or in the promise of having Sean Combs listen to their tape or even let them read for Sean Combs.
Like, what the fuck?
You should know that some of this behavior occurred at well-known venues in New York City. Some of this behavior occurred at private residences of people that we all know. Some of this behavior occurred at hotels that we're all familiar with.
Get on your knees,
you should know that more than 55% of the victims filed reports, reported this conduct to either the authorities, that is the police, or to hospitals. We're in the process of collecting with our team assistants, medical records, reports that were made to the authorities, and I've already said that some of the individuals in this group did in fact talk to the FBI. You should know that several of the individuals, and when I say several, I mean many, who did in fact seek medical treatment, were drug tested, and drugs were found in their system, weird drugs that you probably never heard of. One in particular that continues to pop up is a drug called xylazine, or trank, which,
what's that?
Based on our research, is known as a horse tranquilizer.
Trank?
Now, there's been a lot of reports that we're filing a class action. This is not a class action. Class action is when one or two people file a case on behalf of a group of people. That's not this. These cases will be individual cases. Each case will live and die on its own merit.
Wow.
These cases will be filed individually, one plaintiff against whoever the defendants were involved in the case. Each case may be filed in one venue like California, another case may be filed in New York. One case may sue just Sean Combs, but multiple other people. One case may sue a range of people. I would expect most, though, to be filed, as I said, thinking or hoping or perhaps believing that I may start naming names. Well, that day will come, but it won't be today. The day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already.
We already know who.
And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that.
That boy Stephen J.
But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed.
Whoa.
And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystander.
Whoa, oh my God, when that list hit.
It would also include corporate entities who ultimately profited off of this culture and behavior. I'm looking at banks, pharmaceutical companies, hotels,
liquor companies.
Industry.
We know that many of these individuals were paid cash. We know that many of these individuals involved, whether they were the ones being assaulted and abused or they're witnessing other people being assaulted and abused and then paid and threatened and told to leave. Typically paid 10 grand in cash and told to leave. And then threatened as they were leaving. So in addition to Sean Combs, you should know the defendants in these cases we're going to file will include anyone, of course, who engaged in the assault or exploitation, anyone who participated in such in any way, anyone who encouraged or facilitated this conduct, anyone who was in the room and watched it happen but made no effort to stop it, any venue or venue owner who was aware of what was going on but failed to stop it, any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up. These people who know who they are should just come forward now. I would imagine, as we speak here, there are a myriad of people who are very nervous. You can't hide skeletons in the closet forever. I would expect there are many people out there right now who are desperately searching their memories as they delete their texts and data. Now, although these are, in fact, individual cases, there is a common theme, an MO, if you will. Typically, the victim is lured into a situation where he or she is given a drink. Typically, that drink, reported by these victims, is apparently laced with something. Once that drink takes effect, the perpetrators perform all kinds of sexual acts on the victims, many times passing him or her around as other people watch and enjoy the show, and then leave the victim ashamed, confused, injured, and wondering what happened. When the victim reaches out, he or she is told not to say anything. Sometimes there are threats of physical violence or financial repercussions or bodily harm. The claims we intend to bring will include the following: violent sexual assault or rape, sexual abuse, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, false imprisonment, compelling prostitution, sexual misconduct, dissemination of video recordings, false imprisonment, sexual abuse of minors. Given the large volume of cases, and given our other docket obligations, and given the fact that we want to be sure when we file these cases that they are fully vetted, I expect we'll start filing these cases against Sean Combs and other perpetrators within the next 30 days. Now, it's rare, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, this type of activity is pervasive in our society, and it's rare we get a chance where we can really focus on this as a country and really focus on this about how pervasive this is and what we as collectively can do about it. So I thought I'd take this opportunity before I go into some of the individual cases and talk about some of the individual claims being made and so you'll get a sense of what this 120 people group looks like individually. I want to bring forward Carrie Paul. She's a national victim advocate who helps victims who have been victimized by this type of conduct. And she has some important words, and I hope you'll pay close attention. I think it's important that you hear from her.
Hello, I'm Carrie Paul with the National Victim Advocate. It's not easy for any survivor to come forward. Our culture does to enable abusers. The media runs stories asking why it took so long for survivors to come forward, what barriers exist. We also don't equip law enforcement with the ability to handle sexual assault crimes. Lack of funding translates to lack of training. We have officers in the field that don't know what to say to a rape victim, and also an alarming amount of backlogged, untested rape kits. Prosecutors are focused on what they can prove in a case, and if so, how to do that at time of trial. Advocates and staff are stretched thin with growing caseloads in the criminal justice system. Most people don't know how the criminal justice works in general. Our culture works against victims and survivors every day, and abusers know this. Abusers work themselves into positions of power. Building a public...
I'm trying to hear some names. I ain't gonna lie to you.
They seek victims who are vulnerable,
Ain't no names
such
today,
as
nigga.
children, their employees, and their intimate partners, all who see a different version than the public does.
Bro, they said a
All who
14-year-old, a
on the
15-year-old.
abuser in
This
some
shit
way.
crazy, bro.
And for those that do come forward and aren't believed, face questions like, are you sure it happened that way? Were you drinking? What were you wearing? All of this
You be
creates
banned
an
from TikTok,
environment
nigga?
that enables abusers to continue abusing them and future victims.
They be having some good shit on there,
To the
too.
survivors that have come forward despite not being believed at some point in time, your courage is like nothing we have seen before.
Nigga, that person that you brought that from, there right beside you.
We thank you for coming forward for yourself and all survivors. And lastly, I want all survivors that are watching this to know we believe you and we support you. Thank you.
Hotline, I'm done.
Thank you, Tony.
I gotta call
like
this
Tony
shit.
said, my name is Andrew Ben-Arsdale. I'm the managing partner of Baby A Law Group. We have offices in California, Montana, and North.
Chat. Let me call this hotline. I just want to see what it's hitting for. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna hold you. Move, nigga. Is that 200? They got a hotline in the background, gang. 7474. Let me see.
Bro, they know
Must see
people
what
gonna
shit's
be
hitting for.
calling in, trolling.
The phone stopped ringing.
P. Diddy Abuse Helpline. This call is being recorded and your responses will be recorded exactly as you state them and reviewed by a...
What the bumbo clot? Wait, there's this shit. Yo, chat, I swear, I called it number. I swear. I'm doing it again. I hung up. I'm calling you.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's busy now.
Oh, yeah, niggas
Call back.
blowing that bitch up.
The P. Yo, chat, I can't believe that shit.
Damn.
Oh, it's busy. I shouldn't have hung up.
That bitch jumping.
Now the other people who got touched gonna get there before me. I want to report my touching. Pause. Damn, it's busy now. This shit going crazy. Fuck.
That bitch jumping.
Yo, chat.
Bro, that
Yo, did y'all
line
hear that?
jumping.
My mic was muted. Yo, it says this is a P. Diddy hotline, bro. I'm done. Did y'all hear that? Hold on, I gotta call this shit back. No fucking way. Fuck. All right,
Ain't
let's
no
get back to this.
jumping,
Jesus
though.
Christ, we don't call
The
this.
same sort of events happening. People thrust into the circle reportedly, and
Why the
horrible
line
things
jumping like that,
happening
though?
to them as a result. And from talking
like
to these
the
people
Chinese
who have come
restaurant
forward these
now.
past 10 days, I can tell you unequivocally that because the federal government
They be
did
leaving the phone off the hook
what
at
it
the
needed to
Chinese
do
restaurant when
and
that bitch be
indicted
jumping too much.
this man, that they put him in jail and a judge kept him in jail, they tell me directly, this validates my feelings. For so long, I thought it was my fault. What is it about me that put myself in that scenario? What was I wearing at the time? What did I do to be subjected to such horrific treatment at these people that I was trying to trust? Well, we know now it was not your fault. You were victimized by a group of powerful people that operated for 30 plus years, taking advantage of their wealth and the power that they held within the music industry. So again, thank you to every single person that has come forward and contacted our office over the past 10 days.
30
If
years
you
ago, P.
or
Diddy
someone
was
you know
damn near like
suffered the same
12
sort of
years
treatment,
old. Damn, Diddy.
please contact us at the number behind me and we will help you. Thank you.
This is crazy.
I think it speaks to how important this issue is
That line
in the United States.
These niggas have a 1-800 number.
Made just for
Reputable
Diddy.
people here that want to provide kind of information that I think victims need to hear, witnesses need to hear, the public needs to hear. Let me introduce to you now Olivia Rivers from the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, and let her visit with you a few moments about these types of cases.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Q Olivia Rivers. I am just served my 6th year as the board chair for the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. I'm also the CEO for the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, which is a local rape crisis center here in the Houston area. So thank you for being here as we address these heinous crimes. Sexual assault is not just a crime of violence against the body. It's an assault on the very essence of human dignity and safety. It shatters lives, it destroys confidence, and all too often, it leaves survivors feeling like they are voiceless, isolated, and vulnerable. The reality for many survivors is that coming forward to report their assault is one of the most difficult and daunting tasks that they will ever have to do. And for some, it may take days, months, or even years to speak up, if they ever do. The reasons for this have been mentioned, but include the fear of being disbelieved, being blamed or judged, and, of course, retaliation. The trauma of the assault itself being compounded by the trauma of the criminal justice process, where survivors must relive their experience in order to seek justice. And these feelings and fears are further exacerbated when the allegations are against prominent figures in the entertainment industry or Hollywood. Cases involving powerful figures often attract significant media attention, which can deter victims from coming forward due to fear of public exposure or scrutiny. The intense focus on these high-profile cases can make survivors feel that their personal lives are being put under a microscope, causing further emotional distress. These allegations mentioned here today, as reported, reflect deeply troubling claims that deserve thorough investigation, and no individual, regardless of their stature, is above the law or public accountability. Sadly, the statistics paint a very disturbing picture. According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. In the U.S. alone, there are approximately 463,000 victims of rape or sexual assault every year, and these numbers barely scratch the surface, as sexual violence remains one of the most underreported crimes. But the numbers that follow tell an even more troubling story. Only about 23% of sexual assaults are reported to law enforcement. Of those, just 5% lead to an arrest, and even fewer, less than 1% of reported cases, ever result in a conviction, which is a devastating gap between the crime and the justice that survivors deserve. I want to briefly focus on our state here in Texas. According to the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault, 6.3 million Texans, men and women, will experience some form of violence. That's every 2 minutes someone is sexually assaulted. Meaning, during the course of this press conference, around 60 individuals will forever be changed by this violence. And those are just a few of the victims.
Bet you had 100 of these victims.
Obviously, this is unacceptable. We
30%
cannot allow
of
this
niggas
cycle of
lying.
silence and inaction to continue. We have to create an environment where survivors feel empowered to come forward, where they are met with empathy and respect and support, not skepticism and blame. We have to ensure that our legal system is equipped to handle these cases with the seriousness they deserve, and that survivors have access to the resources that they need beyond the legal courtroom. We have to address the root causes of this epidemic: prevention, awareness, and fostering environments where respect, consent, and safety are non-negotiable values. Additionally, support for survivors has to be holistic. They have to have access to counseling, medical services, legal advocacy, and of course, community support, regardless of whether they choose to report or not. To every survivor who has come forward, your bravery is an inspiration. To those who are still grappling with their decision, know that you are not alone and that your voice matters. Your story matters. We see you, we believe you, and we are committed to fighting for a future where sexual violence is no longer tolerated and where justice is not the exception, but the standard. Thank you.
I want to visit with you real quickly before we close here about some specific instances without disclosing the victim's name. You probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the victim and plaintiff versus the confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few, just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that the typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed
Freak off.
in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink.
You wanted to be in a party so bad with famous people, you gonna drink it? But they give you the choice to leave if you don't want it? It ain't like they be like, nah, bitch, drink it and shove it down your throat. You get the chance to leave and you still sit and drink some shit you don't know what it is. Come on, bruh.
Audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from.
This guy be like the making a band up. That nigga said, oh, Mom, Dad, Diddy said I can get a record deal if he said he could fuck me. Like, that's crazy, bruh.
On him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party.
Nigga, what?
Was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up by, allegedly, by Mr. Combs and several other people.
Boy, ain't no way.
In a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor,
That's crazy.
attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again, allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami.
She drank a laced drink. It wasn't even liquor.
Were torn and sore. And I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme, and it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately,
going with him?
was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found
Tell me they were so
cocaine
starstruck as P. Diddy, they just
and
let
this
him
horse
do it.
tranquilizer in her blood system. I want to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him. He says allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and
Call in and
his
see,
friends
can I look,
in the effort.
we gonna call in and see can we some shit up and see
Was
like
told he would have to
how
do.
good that shit work.
His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to. We are pursuing this, asking you
How y'all let Diddy get up
to
on
support
y'all?
this effort,
Fuck.
to encourage witnesses and victims to come forward and bring your evidence so we can continue to break down this wall of silence and we can continue to have these stories heard. This is the beginning of what I hope to be a national dialogue. This type of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual exploitation should never happen in the United States or anywhere else. This should have never been allowed to go on for so long. This conduct has created a mass of individuals who are injured, scared, and scarred. If you are one of those individuals, we ask you to reach out. If not to us, to someone you trust. If you are someone who witnessed any of these events, we ask you to reach out. Your name can remain confidential. With that, I'll take a few questions, not many, maybe two, but if you have a question, I'll be pleased to try to answer it. Perfect.
How many minors are making accusations in total?
How many minors are asking?
I don't know what the feds are aware of, okay, but I do know it's 25 out of this 120.
25 minors.
But I will say this to that point. We welcome the FBI or any authority who wants to come to us, and we're going to make that available to these victims because I think that's important. My suspicion is, based on talking with these folks, is that the FBI is just not aware of these people. The FBI has talked to some of these folks, and I'm going to try to encourage the victims to, in fact, talk to the FBI because I think they have some very important things to say.
Tony, were all of the children auditioning because they were musicians, or were any of them kids of employees or anything like that?
All seeking either TV or some sort of music career. With promises
They're
of,
just looking for a payday, man.
we're going to make you a star.
We don't see this gonna be a crazy
Instead,
one.
basically did
Diddy
things to
did
them
this
such
to
that they
these
don't
100
want to have
people
anything to do with
where
the entertainment industry ever again.
Seems
All right,
like
guys.
Freddie P
Thank you very much for your attention.
like
We're going to
making
go
these
now.
band
Thank you.
people. It sound like some of them people. B12, 112.
Any file here?
Get a
There's
question
few
on the way
plans
out
here,
type shit,
but I
type
don't
shit.
anticipate filing them here. Probably in New York City.
Thank you.
It appears that the lawsuit still hasn't been filed. The hotline, I think, bro, the hotline been busy since. I don't know how I got through the first time. Yeah, it's been busy ever since. Shit, I should have left my message.
Let's call real quick. Let's call. Let's call. Let's see what they going. Let's see if it's busy for us. If we get through, we leaving a message. I'm like, what Diddy did to them. I'm gonna leave a message. I'm gonna show y'all. I want to talk about what he made them kids do for that cheesecake. They should look in on that.
Thank you for calling the Sean P. Diddy Abuse Helpline. This call is being recorded and your responses will be recorded exactly as you state them and reviewed by our staff and legal counsel. The information you provide is very important should you have a case. You may be asked to verify your responses by affidavit, so your complete honesty is crucial. If you agree to provide accurate information to the best of your knowledge under penalty of perjury, please press 1. Otherwise, please disconnect the phone call now.
Another incident.
We got through, y'all. We got through the hotline.
Hi, thank you for calling. This is Furious. It's on a recorded line. How can I help you today?
I'm scared. Look, I ain't gonna do that shit. They said perjury. You hang up, my dumb ass. Well, look, I was about to say, bro, that shit Diddy made them kids do for that cheesecake. Wow, y'all should look in on that shit. That shit said, you have reached the Diddy assaulted hotline. What the fuck? Hi, sis, from AA Law calling in regrets in the Sean Combs assault lawsuit. Someone of this number just called about. If you please return the call to 46454, your earliest convenience will be gratefully appreciated. Nigga, they really got a P. Diddy hotline, nigga. What the fuck?
As a way to solicit sex, and it appears from men and women alike, and definitely from underage individuals.
I would have went home. Like, I'm not doing nothing I don't want to do, bro. If a nigga give me a choice. Now, I could see if your nigga like, get down, bitch. Take the jump. Put it down her throat. And make you drink it. Yeah, that's some wild shit, bro. If a nigga tell you, if you don't drink that, then shit, you gotta go, playboy. Alright, come on, bro. I'm not walking for no cheesecake. For Beyonce, for Jay-Z, nigga, for Jesus Christ, nigga. I ain't, nigga, for my baby mama, nigga. I'm not walking for no goddamn cheesecake.
Came about him and
Now, for a bag for a 3-5, I'm walking for a 3-5. Like, yeah, I'm walking across country for a 3-5. Got me fucked up.
been more proactive with someone else. It was Jeffrey Epstein, so they were kind of like, what do we do until it start mounting, okay? So I'm wondering how the hell. Oh, we got it, Chad.
Your call may be recorded for call quality assurance purposes.
He gonna hear the perjury thing and hang up.
Diddy Abuse Helpline. This call is being recorded and your responses will be recorded exactly as you state them and reviewed by our staff and legal counsel. The information you provide is very important should you have a case. You may be asked to verify your responses by affidavit, so your complete honesty is crucial. If you agree to provide accurate information to the best of your knowledge under penalty of perjury, please press 1. Otherwise, please disconnect the phone call now.
Should I press 1?
Nah, he don't want that perjury,
I'm not
motherfucker.
sworn into court.
Thank you for calling the Sean P. Diddy. Call is being recorded and your responses will be recorded exactly as you state them and reviewed by our counsel. The information you provide is very important should you have a case. You may be asked to verify your responses by affidavit, so your complete honesty is crucial. If you agree to provide accurate information to the best of your knowledge under penalty of perjury, please press 1.
Chad, should I call back? I don't know. I hung up. Should I call back?
Fuck no.
Like, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. I was just gonna submit a report on behalf of my brother from Philly, Meek Mill. I was gonna be like, in the trenches right now, rolling on the wrist. Did he fuck me in the pool? I'm sorry. Like, I gotta be honest with you now, okay? He took me shopping afterwards. He made me call him daddy. You get what I'm saying? I gotta put in a report for my boy. I gotta do it. Okay, now the only reason why I don't want to get into none of this shit, you know what I mean? I don't even want to civil some.
Audition in one of these parties.
Yeah, the 9-year-old, the one where he said 9-year-old, like that sends chills. You know what I mean? Like you get like, ooh, what the fuck?
Been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something. If you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. These individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to a audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records.
This is the most alarming one. Now here's the thing. In corroborate, so here's the thing. Obviously, I could imagine this lawyer, his law firm has a shit ton of investigators because you have to corroborate these claims. So, if you guys, so you know what, and I think we haven't heard from him in a while, since like we heard that he got referred to the sanctioning committees. But it was the guy who actually he sued Diddy and he put UMG and like Lucian Grange in there. And UMG lawyers went so hard on him, he basically apologized and took them out of the lawsuit. They still refer him to. We're talking about what's that lawyer's name? Tyrone Blackburn, right?
He's scared.
What he was doing is just filing these lawsuits without vetting stuff, right? You know, and when you're filing a lawsuit with very clear errors, like this person was underage, like you like he claimed in his lawsuit, and then those people came out and like that's me in that picture, and I wasn't underage. You know, you basically, a lawyer, right, that's certified by the bar has like a duty, did know by his opening statements. He says there is no class action lawsuit. They're all going to be filed individually. He said towards the end of it that this is going to be where, we want to hear the names. I feel the names are going to be the names of people who are quiet now. Like, I know he didn't say names, but I think we could reasonably come down to a list of names that would be probably in the running, especially in the realm of the ones who allegedly were in the room or could have stopped this. But